So recently, I had one of my clients ask me, how do I do it all? She's like, Michelle, I know that you have 4 kids. You're even homeschooling one of your kids, and I'm struggling over here. How do you do it all? Well, the thing is, I don't do it all, but I do definitely prioritize and make some choices. So if you find yourself struggling to find the time to exercise, or maybe you find that you just don't have any leftover time to exercise or to get healthy. Or maybe that you wish that you could figure out how to fit all of this into your day. Well, in this episode, I'm going to be going over the things I don't do and some systems and routines and priorities that I have in place so that I can do the things that I want to do. And I encourage you that while you're listening to this episode, if you are struggling, I encourage you to reach out to me, because so many times we haven't reached out for support when we need it. We think that we can do things alone and we try different things, but we just keep ending up in the same spot. And don't wait till you feel like you're in a better spot or you have things more together to start getting help, because that's not when we need it. So I encourage you, if you are struggling or if you have questions, to set up a free health coaching call. We're just going to go over your goals and struggles and really start to find out what that next step is for you. What is the missing piece that has been holding you back? Check the description down below to find a link to set up that call. Hi friends, and welcome to the Healthy Beyond 40 show. I'm Michelle, mom of 4 and military wife. I have my doctorate in physical therapy and I'm an online personal trainer, health coach, and yoga teacher. Do you wish that you had more energy and could get into shape? Do you feel like you're struggling to lose weight? Maybe you've tried a diet before, but it just wasn't sustainable, and now you don't know how to get started. We're going to look at health holistically here, and most importantly, keep things simple and quick. If you're ready to develop healthier habits, exercise consistently, and lose weight sustainably without long workouts or following strict diets, then you're in the right place. In this podcast, I bring together my expertise with real life strategies. No magic pill here, so lace up those shoes and get moving. So let's dive into this topic today. So first, I want to talk about the things I don't do, because if I've talked to different people and they're telling me about their life, there's a lot of things people are doing. It's so easy to stay busy in our culture, especially as a woman, when we think about all the different things within our house, within our family, within our jobs, outside of our home. It's so easy to get busy. So as people started to tell me this, I'm thinking there's just a lot of things I don't do so that I have the time to do those things that are important to me. And also so that I'm not stressed out, because when we are stressed, our body, our hormones are not going to function well. When our cortisol is high chronically because we're always stressed out, our body doesn't work well. Our blood sugar goes up from the cortisol. So we really want to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, our health, and our stress. So if you guys don't know me, I have 4 kids. Currently, as I'm recording this podcast, they are in 1st grade, 6th and 7th grade, and 11th grade. The 3 youngest are boys, so they are a little bit more of a handful. I'm also married and I have my husband. So we have a lot of people in the household. But what I do is it's not up to me to clean all of the house. So my husband will help out with cleaning. His thing is that he unloads the dishwashers, which is great. He's been doing this for years. It's one of those things I do not like to do at all. So there's things within the house that he is still helping with, even though he has a full-time job. I also have my kids help to clean. So they're not the best cleaners in the world and they don't do things perfectly, but we have different routines set up with them so that they're helping to clean. They're going to have stuff that they're doing daily and they have a checklist for that, and also things that they're doing weekly to help clean. Again, I have one of my kids wipe down our cabinets and our appliances, and it doesn't look perfect, but it saves me the time from doing it. And every once in a while, I will go through and wipe and clean that myself so it looks better. So maybe every few months, but it's not something that I'm doing every week myself. We also have a robot mop and a robot vacuum. So the house we're living in currently has a pretty big downstairs area with tile floor. So it's pretty large. And I knew when we moved here, I'm like, this is going to be so much time to mop. So we invested in a robot mop, and we also use a robot vacuum. It also incentivizes the kids to get their rooms picked up if they want the robot to vacuum their room. So that has been helpful. Also, if you guys don't know, we are a military family, so we have moved quite a bit. So this has led me to decluttering. It's led me to watching different videos about minimalism and really how to simplify our life and our stuff, because the less stuff you have in your house to take care of, the more time you're going to have, because stuff just sitting there takes up time. And we have so much stuff that we can't even put it away and it can't have a spot or home in our place. Things just get messy. The other thing that I do is I don't go shopping that often. And again, it goes back with this idea of sort of decluttering and having minimal stuff in our house. So I will go shopping, but that is not something I do frequently because one, it's obviously taking time, and then you're bringing more stuff into your house. This is also another reason I like Aldi's, is because it is a small store and it's easier to get in there and get out fast. I also have some stuff I get on Amazon. So instead of going to a different grocery store, which we still sometimes do, but if it's something that I can order on Amazon instead of going to a different grocery store, I do that. For example, I like to use buckwheat oats. So it's a specialty item, definitely not at Aldi's. And I find it easier just to order that from Amazon. And something else I was thinking about that I don't really do is I don't get my nails done and I don't dye my hair. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with doing either of those. But if I'm constantly having to keep up my nails, it just takes more time. And I actually haven't painted my toenails since I've had my last kid, and he is in first grade. And again, it was just one of those things I have to upkeep, and I just haven't done it. I'm sure at some point I will paint my toenails because I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But it's thinking in your mind, like, what is taking time that I don't have time for right now? I also don't dye my hair. And I was just talking to one of my clients this past week. She was just telling me how, her hair is going gray and she just dyed it, and just how it takes a lot of time. Every 2 weeks, she's having to touch it up. Again, I don't think it's wrong to dye your hair. At some point, I may dye mine, but it's one of those things that where it just keeps it simpler for me. I also either don't wear makeup or I wear very minimal makeup if I put it on. And again, it's just one of those things that it takes less time. And I'm happy with either way, putting very minimal on or just putting a little bit of makeup on. Another thing I don't do is I don't volunteer at my kids' school. When my oldest was little, I volunteered at her school once and I just found it stressful. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just not doing this. And we get announcements from our kids' school all the time about different opportunities. So there's just a lot of things that I say no to. Another thing is the holiday season is coming up is I don't decorate. And again, I don't think this is really bad or wrong, but I don't really decorate that much. For Christmas, typically my husband ends up getting it out because I'm usually dragging my feet. And it's more like I just don't want to spend the time doing it and then having to take all of it down. So that's just another way that I am not putting time into something else. Again, I don't think it's wrong if you do that. And there may come a point later where I enjoy doing that more. But it's definitely not something that I enjoy right now. And I also don't worry about having a perfect house. So I do like my house clean and tidy, but I'm not so obsessed with it. For example, that if I wanted to get a workout in, that I am just so stuck on wanting my house clean that I'm not going to stop to work out. So those are all a lot of things that I don't do. And I'm sure there is more things that I don't do that I didn't even think of. But allow yourself some time to think of what are you doing? Like, what really is taking up your time? What are things that you're having to do each week or month that takes up your time that maybe you don't want that you need that time for something else to really invest in your health? Some other things that I do is I have different systems and routines in place. So I use an online checklist system where this helps me with reoccurring tasks like my meal planning and the different cleaning jobs around my house that I do, or the different things that help my house to run smoothly. So I have them in there so they come up as reoccurring tasks. Because when we're doing the same things each week, we want to make sure that we have a system for that so that it doesn't stay in our brain, that we can free up our brain space and put those systems down and really start to develop those systems. Also, each week I am typically having a plan for the week. So we have a big calendar for the family that has our weekly plan of what's going on. I put our meals on there. It really makes me stop and take the time to think ahead of what is coming for the week and also what my priorities are for myself, for my family, and for my health. Also I use a paper planner, so I do use Google Calendars, but I also have a paper planner that I use that I'm going through for the week and making sure that I have my appointments or anything with my business done, but I'm also putting stuff in there for myself. Like, when am I going to exercise? I have a workout block that is in my Google Calendar, but sometimes I have to move that block if I have something going on. But it's there because it's a priority and it's important to me. The other thing is I also have different routines set up. So my morning routine right now is that I get up and I'm spending time in the Bible and scripture. Sometimes I'm doing a soap or sort of journaling activity with the Bible, having time to pray. And I'm usually getting some movement in, like Christian yoga or maybe going for a short walk. But I have that morning routine that really helps to fuel me. It really helps with my mental health and to help me feel better. I also, after I have breakfast, I'm typically having my Organifi green juice with my breakfast because it just makes me feel better. It helps with my energy. It gives me a good dose of nutrients. And I love they put ashwagandha in it. And it's a natural adaptogen herb that really helps with energy without using caffeine. And if you guys want to try Organifi's green juice out, use the code HEALTHY20. There's going to be a link down below. You can check it out. I also love their gold drink at night. Right now they have the pumpkin pie spice and it is so good. So in my morning, I'm having a healthy breakfast with my Organifi green juice. And I also typically take my fish oil and my vitamin D supplement. So that has become a routine to me to get these healthy nutrients into my body. Also, more for my mental health is that I have a good evening routine. So by 8 o'clock, I have a hard rule to get off my phone and get off my computer for the night. Also, during that time, I typically have been journaling lately. So I will sort of just journal about my day a little bit, pray, whatever I need. I have this sort of time to close my day and to close my mind so that I'm more relaxed going into the evening. And again, things like that, I'm always adjusting about what I need in different seasons of my life. The next part I want to talk about is priorities. And so the priorities we have are going to lead what we do each day. But a lot of times is we're not very clear on our priorities. So this is one thing that I love to help clients gain clarity about is their priorities, what we actually want to happen, and how we're going to invest our time and put some action into that. And I want you to keep in mind, I take a habits-based approach. So starting a habit and sticking with it, and then maybe adding something else. And it's the same thing. So as you're hearing me talk about different things, know that you need to just make one change at a time, one thing, and then you can add different things on later. I didn't get to this point all in one day or 1 week or 1 month. It has taken years and years to develop some of these different systems and routine and find things that I don't need to be doing right now so I can focus on what my priorities are. And another thing is that I'm always reevaluating what I need. So I do that on a weekly basis and also a monthly basis because things change. There's different seasons in our life with the physical seasons of spring, summer, fall, winter. That's going to change what we're doing. Also things with our kids. We also may have different hardships that pop on our life and we have to reevaluate what our priorities are. So some of my priorities have just become a habit and they're so easy that I don't even think about them. So for me, making sure that I am exercising 5-6 times a week, I don't really have to think about it. I do keep it on my calendar, but that's become so easy. Making sure that I'm getting some movement in has become a lot easier. Having healthy meals for our family, it has gotten easier. So some things right now that I am prioritizing that I need to make sure I'm doing is one that my husband and I are getting a weekly date night. We didn't prioritize this before. Now that our kids are getting older and we have some built-in babysitters, it makes it a lot easier. So that is something I have to be very intentional about each week because it would be so easy to not do that and fill our night up with something else. The other thing that we are doing as a family is we try to do date nights with our kids. So my husband and I will alternate who is going out on a date with one of our kids. So for example, we have a rule, the date is an hour, they can only spend $5 or less, and we just alternate our kids. So through the course of a whole month, that would mean that I get to go out with one of my kids. And this just goes back to one of my priorities of wanting to have a strong family, wanting our kids to feel loved and really feel supported and part of our family. So this has been something fun. And there are some weeks that we don't do this. If we're traveling or something else is going on, and we're okay with that, but we are intentionally okay with skipping that. So it really comes back to this idea of what are you going to be intentional about? What do you need to really think about scheduling and doing each week, because it is not a habit yet. And I also just want to share that living a healthier lifestyle has just started to become more of who I am. So for example, my sister was visiting me this weekend and we did a lot of walking together. We rode bikes to go places. We did go out to eat some, but it was healthier places where we could get salads or bowls or different things like that. And having movement, maybe doing yoga together, those are just part of who I am. So I invite people into those. It's also just what my sister does, so that makes it easier too. But as I meet different people, if we move to different places, I'm inviting people to do some of these active things with me because it's just part of who I am. So those have become a lot easier for me to do. So I encourage you that wherever you are on your journey, know that you don't need to get there all at once, that it is a process, that it takes some time to get to where you want to be and to figure out how to really manage your time, to prioritize making healthy meals, to prioritize your exercise and your movement. It is not going to happen overnight or in a month or maybe in a year. It's going to take time and time as you're adding new habits on and that you keep reevaluating what you need to do. So I hope that this episode encouraged you. I hope that you can find one thing that maybe you want to be more intentional about, or maybe one thing that you need to let go of today for this week, for this month, so that you can have more time to take care of your health. If you guys haven't yet, I encourage you to head to my Facebook group, Healthy Beyond 40, and get connected in there. It's a great group. It helps you to feel a sense of community around health because a lot of times we're not necessarily surrounded by people who are healthy and encouraging us. So there will be a link in the description below so you can join the group. All right, guys, have a great week and keep on moving.